Hey, what's up guys, Riff here. So today we're going to be once again talking about Sweet Baby Inc. We all know 2024 has been a very rough year for this woke consulting firm, and in yesterday's video we covered the latest developments involving them, and that is the fact that they nuked their own website and then rebuilt it, seemingly removing any mention of DEI from their website, which is a stark contrast to everything they've been doing for years, and a lot of people think this is their attempt to hide their agenda and to come off as just this simple narrative consulting firm. And people think this is a recent shift, but thanks to some comments made by its CEO, Kim Belair, it seems that Sweet Baby has been trying to do this rebrand for a couple of months. And we can say that because of this sort of TED Talk she did at XOXO Festival. Apparently this took place back in August of this year, and it's been uploaded onto YouTube just 2 days ago on this channel. And in this sort of TED Talk, she talks about not only a rebrand away from DEI, they're trying to come off as just this narrative consulting firm. She also tries to downplay all of the criticism the company has been facing and tries to paint all of her critics as a bunch of conspiracy theorists. And also she calls out a lot of YouTubers, including myself and Elon Musk as well. But there's a lot of interesting things she has to say, so let's give it a play.
By day, I am the crazed CEO of Sweet Baby Inc., the DEI-obsessed censorship mafia who is currently ruining and wokeifying all of the video games that you've ever played.
I mean, you said it, not me, but you can hear the crowd. How confusing, right? Like, she's trying to make a joke and downplay all of the criticism, labeling these people as crazy conspiracy theorists, but then the crowd cheers. They cheer hearing about games being wokeified. Very interesting crowd attending this, and you'll see they're all integrated in all this woke nonsense. They cheer on this stuff.
Thank you. Thank you. It's hard work. If you haven't heard of Sweet Baby Inc., thank you. That's actually how I prefer it.
That's an interesting comment from Kim because it pretty much confirms what a lot of people like myself have always thought. And that's the fact that Sweet Baby and its employees and its CEO, they never wanted to be discovered. And it's not about a vanity sort of thing. It's because they don't want people knowing their impact on games. No, Sweet Baby is not responsible for destroying every video game out there, but they are responsible for helping damage a lot of games that have come out recently. We've seen many examples that Sweet Baby has been involved with that have ended up with bad products that end up tanking, and they don't want you to know the connections because once people started establishing things like Sweet Baby Inc. detected, DEI detected, services like that, it has been a very eye-opening experience for people like Sweet Baby who have been working behind the scenes unquestioned for years, and now they have a spotlight on them and they don't like it. And also, they don't like the spotlight on the people they're working with too. We saw with the recent website rebrand, they removed their client list. So they're trying to hide who they're working with, but unfortunately for them, we have archived screenshots like this, so it's a little too late to be playing that game.
But if you have, it's either because of the over 80 amazing and often award-winning games that we've worked on, or actually one of those, Usual June, was at this very conference. So yeah, you've either heard us from all of these wonderful games, or perhaps you're familiar with the nearly year-long hate campaign that has been waged against us as a team.
There I am, guys. Right here, I'm up on the Jumbotron. I made the compilation. So she is using this image to call out people who are criticizing Sweet Baby. And the irony, of course, is the actual video that she used for me is citing something that she's not going to mention throughout this TED Talk, but we'll get there in a second. Turns out this image is actually not hers. In fact, its intention is the exact opposite of what she's doing. This is actually the source right here. This is the individual who made this image. It wasn't made to dunk on or expose people criticizing Sweet Baby. It was literally made to show all of the criticism they are facing. So Sweet Baby couldn't even be bothered, or the channel who uploaded this, they couldn't even be bothered to make these sort of compilations themselves. But clearly, they're aware of all this stuff. And on top of that, like I said, at no point during any of this TED Talk is she going to mention the reason this all happened. She's talking about the harassment campaign, and at no point will she ever cite the reason it actually happened. It started because of this right here. Chris Kindred, one of their employees, starting a harassment campaign and a false flag campaign against Cabrutus, who created Sweet Baby Inc., detected, and we know the story of this, the Streisand effect. that small Steam group would blow up as a result of this, and then the criticism campaign against Sweet Baby would ramp up to levels nobody ever thought, and they only have themselves to thank for that because of the actions of Chris Kindred. And just like the journalists who have covered this situation, they intentionally omit this entire interaction that led to the public, the really public discovery of Sweet Baby and what they're doing.
You're familiar with the nearly year-long hate campaign that has been waged against us as a team. Unfortunately, today I'm here to talk about that in a talk I'm going to call What Happens When You Get Harassed? A Sweet Baby Story.
Amazing. Definitely from a group of people like it's Sweet Baby and a lot of these activists. They love to play the victim any chance they get. And they're going to basically try to frame this entire thing to a bunch of people in the audience who have no idea what's going on. They're just being spoon-fed whatever Kim's saying. And she paints this whole thing as a one-sided harassment campaign because people hate woke stuff and they're just going rabid on this poor, innocent narrative consulting firm who has no woke agenda whatsoever. But let's allow this to keep playing.
So I'm going to start at the beginning. Who is Sweet Baby Inc.? We are a narrative development company, and we are a team of narrative developers. What that means is that we do script writing, storytelling, narrative work for video games, and sometimes that means that we come in for writing punch-ups. Sometimes that means we're the entire writer's room for a project. Sometimes that means we're coming in very, very early on and helping them start the groundwork, the world building.
Yeah, that's kind of scary to think about, right? Sweet Baby being the entire writer's room at some point, at some projects, that's a pretty terrifying thought. But you can see what Kim's saying, right? She's describing Sweet Baby as a narrative consulting firm who helps build stories for these various clients. However, we know truly that this isn't as simple as she is suggesting, okay? This is a comparison of the About section from only a little while ago versus the revamped one from the website's recent changes. You can see how much they are trying to cover up their woke agenda. Here's the original About Us, saying founded in 2018, Sweet Baby Inc. is a narrative development and consultation studio based in Montreal and working around the globe. Our mission is to tell better, more empathetic stories while diversifying and enriching the video game industry. We aim to make games more engaging, more fun, more meaningful, and more inclusive for everyone. Then you can see the updated statement. There is no mention of inclusivity, diversity, anything like that. And that is reflected in how she is speaking during this TED Talk. She is not mentioning anything about DEI or a woke agenda in her description of her company because I think at this point she knows it is a crutch. It is something that is turning off a lot of people to anything they're working on. And really, why would anyone want to be associated with Sweet Baby and their agenda at this point? So I think they're doing everything in their power to sort of clean up their image, but as always, it's a little too late, right? They're trying to paint themselves as a non-DEI, non-woke, not even involved in any sort of stuff like that. They're just a narrative consulting firm when only a year ago you have employees from their company making slideshows like this onto YouTube saying that they want to burn the games industry to the ground. That was their objective at Sweet Baby. And now they expect you to sit here and just think, yeah, they're totally not having any sort of an agenda behind the scenes. Nobody with a brain is buying this right now.
But what I want to really stress is that all of our work focuses very heavily and very seriously on story. That is what narrative development is. We started out in 2018, but it was really in 2020 that we kind of came to any kind of industry prominence. And it was on a backdrop of the COVID quarantine, sending everybody home from the office. Me Too sweeping through the games industry as various bad actors were named and shamed appropriately, I should say. And also the Black Lives Matter protests were in full swing.
And you can see the things she's mentioning right there is kind of the blow up of Sweet Baby. It's not about narrative consulting. It's about social issues. They're talking about Black Lives Matter. They're talking about the Me Too movement. Why would they, as just a regular narrative consultation group, blow up as a result of stuff like that? It's because they were pandering to a lot of social issues, social justice issues, things like that. And it happened to be a good fit at the time where a lot of corporations were going absolutely crazy, trying everything in their power to appeal to a bunch of activists because they thought that would help their bottom line. And as it turns out, that didn't really work.
At the time, the industry was kind of responding in the way you might imagine with a lot of corporate overpromising, but within the writing sphere, there were a lot of offers for portfolio reviews. Like, hey, if you're a marginalized or especially a black dev, we would love to give you a portfolio review. And I want to say I love portfolio reviews. It's something that we also do at Sweet Baby for free.
So she goes on to talk about how she likes to give a helping hand to a lot of people who are marginalized and they don't get a regular shot. And this reflects their original outreach statement that has been removed in the revamp of their website, where they say new and marginalized talent can change the industry if given the proper support. We want to provide this through our outreach programs. And in another interview from a few years ago, Kim talked about the same thing and basically said that she wants to hire people who are minorities, even if they don't have the qualifications. She thinks that is a more important factor towards their employment than their actual writing skills and things like that. So it really all goes back to a lot of their original goals. She's just wording things differently. But let's watch some more here.
I decided to do a cheeky Google and see, like, hey, had anyone put that together? The Google went bad.
So what she's referring to here, by the way, just for context, is she was helping release two major projects Sweet Baby worked on. That is Alan Wake 2 and Spider-Man 2. And she decided to Google search herself, basically to get a little insight on how excited people are to see Sweet Baby's involvement. And wow, who would have thought it turned out bad?
I shouldn't have done it because rather than any praise or people going, wow, how did you do it? Or just, hey, a narrative development company, what does that mean? I'm really interested. We were instead found by kind of 4chan and the worst people on Twitter. And looking back, there is a funny element to it where I go like, people were kind of talking like, I've discovered a secret Canadian company. Like, these are the guys who did it. And the discovery that they had made was actually like our public-facing website.
So you see her talking there about 4chan and the worst of Twitter. So she's trying to, once again, downplay the criticism she is facing. It's not from people making honest criticisms of their company and their involvement with various games, but instead it's a bunch of nut jobs on 4chan. It's the 4chaners and the crazy people on Twitter, instead of the very reasonable people who have been making videos, tweets, and what have you, giving fair criticism while they are, yes, discovering who this company is. It's not that Sweet Baby was like hiding somewhere, but nobody knew who they were. So the website being public is not something that really meant anything because nobody knew who they were. No one was searching for Sweet Baby until they found out who Sweet Baby was. And back in the harassment campaign that was started by the Sweet Baby employee Chris Kindred, that's when people really discovered. Some people had seen on other platforms this company, but it wasn't anywhere to the degree after what happened with Cabrutus and that Sweet Baby Inc. employee. But let's watch one more clip here. This is pretty interesting.
In moments when this movement couldn't dig up like another reason to attack us, they would just kind of move on to other groups who they perceived to be like us. All while doing the work of erasing all of those people's and our actual jobs and interest and papering over it with kind of that rallying cry of far-right supremacy, DEI.
DEI, according to Kim, is a rallying cry of far-right supremacy. So if you identify or criticize DEI, you are a far-right supremacist. That is a very bold claim. Again, she's trying to take any criticism of people who are tired of having all this nonsense forced into games just for the sake of checking boxes, and they are being labeled as far-right supremacists. It's ridiculous. But listen to who she criticizes next.
And as ridiculous and stupid as it all was, I actually was not prepared for the escalation of it when noted buffoon and Twitter CEO Elon Musk decided that he would chime in with his very cool thoughts.
So she calls Elon Musk a noted buffoon, attacking his intelligence. Now, you can say a lot of things about Elon. You can criticize how he's operated Twitter since taking over it. You can call him cringe, you can do whatever, but don't act like the dude's not intelligent. I mean, the guy is sending rockets up into space, okay? I don't think he is your average buffoon, but here's his tweet saying Sweet Baby Inc. is an evil blight on the gaming industry. All they do is make games terrible and try to cancel people. They cannot go broke soon enough. And I think that sentiment is reflecting what was already a very common public view of this company, which was a negative one. You can see the date of this tweet. It was in mid-March. At this point, we are weeks into what people call the second Gamergate. So he wasn't exactly new to the party here. But yeah, that is really the last part of this video I want to play because she just kind of rambles on. It's really a self-promotion for Sweet Baby. But you can see what they're trying to do here, right? Play the victim and also try to downplay their interest and their agenda towards DI. And they also want to act like they're just this humble consulting firm that wanted to be left alone in the shadows. But they have been exposed and now they're trying everything in their power to hide their real agenda. I don't think that's a conspiracy theory. I think it just reflects years of activity for them and a stark change apparently over the past couple of months where they're trying to hide all this stuff and nobody's buying it. They think it's just gone underground at this point, and really that is all there is to say about it. But for now, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys next time.